What a way for the Sox to bounce back, and bounce back really quickly. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. And just like the title says, ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Red Sox have won their very first series in the 2025 season. It was absolutely a really great series with a ton of really good takeaways that I think are going to carry over into series coming up, including Fenway opening day, ladies and gentlemen. The Boston Red Sox play a game at the most historic ballpark in America today. That's actually why this video is coming out a little bit earlier than normal. I'm going to be there taking in the sights of a Fenway opening day. There's just simply nothing like it. If you see me there, come say hi. I'll be at Mighty Squirrel before today's game. But either way, we got to recap this series before we get there and talk about the key takeaways. And to me, I think the biggest key takeaway is that people that had been missing in Texas showed up in Baltimore. What I mean by this is essentially 2 through 4 in the Red Sox lineup, right? Those were the guys that just simply could not get anything done in Texas, and it really kind of cost them the series, right? Not just games, it cost them the series in general. This series was sort of the flip side of that, right? They won a series basically on the backs of these guys in 2 through 4. And that's exactly what the Red Sox needed. We talked about Rafael yesterday. I'm going to reiterate it a little bit here in today's video as well, but he ended up with 3 hits in this series, all of them over 100 miles an hour off the bat. That is something that we have been dying to see from Rafi, right? He only struck out 3 times in this last 2 games of this series. Baby steps, right? We're not going to get 3 home run games from Rafael directly after having one of the worst starts in Major League history. But what you're seeing right now are baby steps, him getting his confidence, his motions, his stance, everything sort of back into regular positions here. And he's starting to make some really hard contact. And obviously, this offense lives or dies by Rafi. So getting those is absolutely fantastic. But it's not just him. Alex Bregman had his first career home run as a Boston Red Stocking in this series. He had 3 hits in the series finale, including 2 doubles, as well as that home run. So good to see him getting going early. Last year with the Astros, it took him over almost a month to hit his first home run of the season. So for him to get it out of the way game 6, that's a pretty good place for the Red Sox to be. Trevor Story, again, we talked about him in yesterday's video, but he had a 3-for-4 game in the middle game of this series with a home run, a double, and a single. And obviously Triston Casas, right? Casas, I think a lot of people were saying was struggling about the same as Rafael Rafi had the numbers, but Casas was right there with him. He had a big game in the finale of this series, going 2 for 5 with his first home run of the season. More importantly than that, it was to the opposite field, which is a really good sign that a guy is going right again at the plate. But even more important than that, it was off of a lefty as well. So kind of the 2 things that you sit there and you say, well, once Triston Casas gets going, this is how we're going to be able to tell. Well, he did both of those in one singular swing. And look, the Red Sox were scoring runs before these guys got started, but the Red Sox just simply were not going to win series without these guys here, right? The 3 of those guys outside of Triston Casas are your highest paid players on this team, and for a reason, right? They're here to be impact players, to be guys that are going to, at points, just straight out, put the team on their back and win them baseball games. And that's exactly what they did in this series, so it was great to see that finally come to life. I also think it's a nice, stark reminder, right, that 5 games is just simply not enough to build an opinion on what these guys are going to look like all year. And I know some of you guys are going to be sitting there and saying, Corbin, how are we talking about the offense but not talking about Kristian Campbell? Brother, we got a whole segment of this video dedicated to Kristian Campbell, because if we're talking about key takeaways of 2025, Kristian Campbell might be the most key takeaway, right? He gets the extension midway through this series. He comes out of that extension as a, 2-3 hits in that game, 2 of them being doubles. He looks absolutely incredible. Now, I get it, right? It's been 7 games. That's 1 week of Red Sox baseball, sitting there and saying, this is what this guy's going to look like negatively. Also, I have to put that into positively as well, right? We just don't know what Kristian Campbell's going to look like, but I don't think I could have thought of a better start for Campbell than what he's doing at the plate right now. And even defensively as well, he looks fantastic, which we'll get to at the end of this video. But it is just absolutely perfect the way he's breaking into Major League Baseball. It's so good, in fact, it may be the best first 7 games as a rookie in Red Sox history. Per Elias, Kristian Campbell, this series became the first Red Sox player ever to have at least 10 hits, 6 extra base hits, and 4 walks in their first 7 games in the big league. To me, that's a pretty cool stat. There have been some pretty impressive names who have come up and debuted with the Boston Red Sox that weren't able to do something like Kristian Campbell is doing. So I'm fully aboard the Kristian Campbell hype train. We'll see kind of where this ends up at the end of the day, right? I think the league is going to make some adjustments to Campbell, and he's going to have to adjust back. It's going to be a little bit of a cat and mouse game for the first, I don't know, year or two that he's in the major leagues. Not that it's never not a cat and mouse game, but it's a brand new one, basically. So I'm curious to see how the end stats look, but he's moved into favorite for rookie of the year. People are very, very excited about Kristian Campbell. They should be. This dude is absolutely fantastic on the field, off the field. I'm psyched with what I'm seeing with Kristian Campbell. Now, there's a lot of positives that we're going to take out of the offense, right? We talked about all the positives already, actually. I'm sure there's more that you guys have, so let me know below. But there is one negative that we have to talk about before we go any further, and that is simply that the fact that the Red Sox, they are still striking out a ton, despite the fact that they are now scoring some runs as well. They had 33 strikeouts in this series, which is over 10 strikeouts a game, and as much as I love watching these guys hit home runs and stuff like that, that number simply has to come down. Last year, the Red Sox had a really good offense. It was top 10 in every single category, despite what some fans will lead you to believe. But at the same time, too, the reason fans thought that this offense last year was kind of bad is because it was such a roller coaster offense. When they were good, they were really, really good. When they were bad, they were really bad. And a big part of that is because they were sort of that home run, walk, or strikeout, 3 true outcome type team last year, right? If you were hitting home runs and not walking, the only thing left to do is striking out. And I think being able to find a place where you're not striking out 10 plus times a game will allow you to avoid having those roller coaster type moments and hopefully make you a better ball club. I will say runners in scoring position, much better this series than the first one. They were 6 for 25, which is a 240 batting average. It's still not incredibly great, but it is much, much, much better than it was. What was it, like 118 or something against the Texas Rangers? So great to see them hitting with more runners in scoring position. A major part of that is you got guys like Rafi making contact now. Any contact, let's be honest. Bregman actually starting to hit for extra bases. Story starting to make contact. Casas making contact. Those guys start getting going, and this lineup looks a whole lot better. We know that, right? So obviously the runners in scoring position is going to be a bigger statistic. As for the pitching, I mean, come on, right? The one thing that we all know is going to stand out from this series is Garrett Crochet, the ace of the Boston Red Sox. We did a full deep dive into what his start meant for this Red Sox team in yesterday's video if you want to check that out. But just to give you the stat line, once again, it was 8 innings, 0 earned, career highs in innings and strikeouts with 8. It was a full-on dismantling. It's so nice to have a legitimate ace at the top of this rotation. It really is, isn't it? Just like, yeah, it's Crochet Day, baby. We got a real good chance of winning this one. Feels absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to have that feeling, hopefully, for 30-plus starts this year. But outside of that, in terms of rotation, I got to be honest with you, I'm a tiny bit nervous about this rotation. Tanner Houck just simply doesn't look like the pitcher he did last year. This game was a bit better than his first game, but still it wasn't incredibly impressive, right? The Red Sox give him a nice cushion lead. He gives up 3 earned runs in 4 innings, I believe it was. He did get more swing and miss or just overall strikeouts looking yesterday. Basically tripled what he got in the game against the Texas Rangers, which is a good sign, but the command just is not there with his stuff. It just doesn't look like Tanner Houck. Last year, Tanner Houck was dominant because he could get you strike 1, he got you strike 2, and all of a sudden you were down 0-2, right? He barely walked anybody. He's given up home runs this year, 3 home runs in I think it was 4 2/3 innings, 5 2/3 innings to start the season. He had 11 in the entirety of last year as well. So it's just a command thing right now with Tanner. It's looking a lot more like 2023 Tanner, if you remember that on the mound, as opposed to 2024 Houck. I'm still fairly confident that Houck can get back to closer to what he was last year. Maybe not his stuff last year, but closer to what it was and be a serviceable pitcher. But you kind of need him to step up, right? Buehler struggled in his first game. You need that guy to step up. Fitz looked really good. Sean Newcomb in this series, yeah, I wasn't exactly impressed, we'll say that. And you still got a ways to go until Bayo and Giolito are back. So rotation right now is kind of my biggest concern. I was confident the offense was going to pick itself back up. The bullpen has looked absolutely nails this series and last series, right? You had that bad moment with Slayton and Cooper Criswell in the first game, but let's be honest, they probably weren't winning that first game. Anyways, outside of that, Chapman's going to give me a stroke, but he was able to get the job done. He looks pretty solid. Garrett Whitlock looks incredible. He looks flat out like 2021 Garrett Whitlock, right? He's just blowing dudes away with 97. The movement on his pitches is absolutely disgusting. Pair that with Slayton, who looks similar to 2021 Whitlock. They're an absolutely deadly combination. But even again, you go back to the guys who are supposed to be in lower leverage situations. You had Zach Kelly come in a couple of pivotal innings so far this season, and he's delivered on all of it. People started calling him the fireman. I think I kind of love that. I think he's going to be a dude this year. I truly think he's going to be a dude this year. The stuff looks great. The command looks a lot better than it has in the past. I'm excited to see what Kelly does this season. Justin Wilson, right? He's thrown 2 scoreless appearances in 2025. The bullpen, in my opinion, may be the least worried of a part of this team that I've been, right? Through 2 series a year, I'm not worried about them. It's the rotation, in my opinion. You're looking at everything that I'm like, what is this going to look like over the course of 162? You know, how do Bayo and Giolito improve it too are things that I'm looking at. Right now, my eyes are on Tanner Houck. He needs to figure things out a bit. Walker Buehler's in that same boat as well. My final takeaway is Red Sox fans have no patience, right? And that's not a knock. That's because we expect excellence all the time, but it's also at points you're sitting there and you're like, guys, just give it a minute, right? It felt like the world was falling on our shoulders for 4 days. Now it feels like things are a little bit different, right? It feels like, okay, you're not 500 completely, but you're 3-4. You picked yourself back up. You beat the Baltimore Orioles, by the way, for the first time in Baltimore since 2022. It's been 2 years, well, really 3, since the Red Sox have been able to beat them in Baltimore, and they went in there and they did that coming off of some tough games in a row. They stopped the skidding, and I think that's a really important thing the Red Sox are going to be able to do this year. Is you're probably not going to see 6-7 game losing streaks like you saw last season because of the fact that you've got guys like Crochet, and because of the fact that you've got that 2-4, and because of the fact that you've got the bullpen, and not to mention the defense, right? The defense this series, there were probably 6 or 7 plays just in the last game alone that probably weren't getting made last year, and it's a massive difference maker. Houck probably gets absolutely crushed without the help of his defense. Sean Newcomb isn't in that game for more than an inning and a half without their defense as well. The defense has been incredible, but I think it's just a reminder, breathe, right? It's a long, long season. There are going to be good series. There are going to be bad series. We just have to figure out which way it's going to end up at the end of the year. Are there more bad or are there more good? I absolutely loved this series, though. This was the first time this year we saw glimpses of what this team was built to look like, right? The offensive juggernaut with the shutdown pitching and the back-end defense and bullpen that are just going to totally take you out of games. I absolutely loved it, right? I don't know how people come out of this series and go, I don't know, man, I'm still pretty worried about this team. They showed you everything they needed to show you. Now it's time to build off of it, right? This is where you take this momentum and you turn it into legitimate competition. You're facing the Cardinals, who've got off to a good start, but are not predicted to be a super great team this season. Let's see what we can do against those guys, and then keep pushing yourself, right? Keep going and going and going. That's the only thing the Red Sox can do, but I absolutely loved this bounce back series win from the Sox. It showed fight, it showed ability, it showed talent, everything we've been looking for from this Red Sox team to show you. So let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on this series in the comment section down below? What are your biggest takeaways from the Red Sox first series win? As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. I will see you at the greatest place in the entire world later today. And of course, as always, if you can't make it to that, in the red seats.